Yeah, I want to talk about blue zones. Buying and creating a blue zone for your health is probably the best investment you could ever do. This location is $23,000. It goes all the way over there, all the way up the hill. And there's two of these lots, two of these sanctuaries protected by slopes, a river that goes all the way around the property and around the next lower area as well. So if you end up getting a blue zone like this, what happens is you have the ability to grow your own food. You have the ability to only consume fresh air, beautiful air. And there's mountain springs up top that feed all these areas with water. The river itself is very clean. We're the only neighbor above. There's cows here and there, but the rest of it is pretty clean. The water is going to be a good source to water your garden or whatever you need to do. This idea of a blue zone is very interesting because the objective is to stay alive longer. I'll tell you, there's a couple of factors that let you live longer. One of them is eating great food or great produce and eating less of it. So if you're eating nutrient-rich produce that you grew yourself, you're going to need to consume a lot less of it because it's so energy rich that your body will fill up with this really great fruits and vegetables. So this idea of looking after yourself, looking after the location where you live, makes everything very worthwhile because you are going to be healthier. You're going to be busy, tending to the gardens, doing all this great work. So it's very interesting if you can find a place, a blue zone for yourself, and use it to your advantage to get healthy again or to stay healthy. It actually is very important that you're quite fit, that you have good legs, because this is quite a rough terrain. And this land will keep you on your toes. There's no question about it. It is quite energy draining to be here. You can get access where you can just get to your land. That's not so hard to do. But as I say, these animals sure do help with trying to fit into a community like this. Yeah, I want to explain what blue zones are. And what I'm trying to explain doesn't really categorize as a blue zone, but for me it does, because what it means is that the land allows you to live longer than living in New York City, for example. If you lived in this place, you will live longer and you'll probably have a cleaner, more fulfilled life where nature kind of looks after you. It's a very weird concept, but we are supposed to be part of nature. We're not supposed to be so separated from nature. This idea of separating ourselves from technology and living in a place like that, still being connected to the internet, getting dirt underneath your fingernails, growing everything you're going to eat is incredibly valuable to the longevity of your life. And that to me is a blue zone. And I don't want to live to be 100 years old. My mom told me when she was 96 that every single person that she knew, except for her kids, are dead. So in a place like this where you're a little bit of a stranger, if you're 100 years old, you're very vulnerable. So this might not be a place to die or to get extremely old, but you have golden years where you can really take advantage of a place like this, and you can have really healthy, inexpensive years where you can live off of very little money and have incredible amounts of enjoyment being immersed in this 365-day weather where you can have food all the time, where you have fresh air. There's a stream coming through here that's got all these elephant ears thriving. So there's a lot of this life that goes on in these blue zones that are very adaptable for human life. In these places, you're part of something. You're part of nature. You're part of the environment. You are benefiting from everything that is surrounding you, which makes a place like this so invaluable. It even shows that you have a little bit of a passion for animals, and these locals have, a really strong connection to cows and goats and horses, and everything depends on them to keep these people here flourishing and alive. Yeah, there's something really special about a place like this, and I'll describe it as the 365 syndrome. What that means is you have growing weather all year long here. You can find incredibly beautiful properties in northern Ontario or Manitoba, or in the depth of the United States. But you never have that 365 scenario where you can keep yourself healthy all year long. And that makes it really a special place when you have 20 degrees every single day. And what it does is it allows you to create a staggered food mechanism where you have a set of carrots, 2 weeks later, another set of carrots. So you're always dealing with fresh food. And that fresh food will keep you not only healthier, it will allow you to eat a lot less food because it's so incredibly nutrient rich. It's very interesting. These blue zones are always about what nature has created. It's not really man-made scenarios. These blue zones are these healthy zones for you to live. They're always created or protected by nature itself. This river provides so much humidity in the air. The plants thrive from the humidity. Humans have a great attraction to water. It keeps their lungs nice and moist. This will definitely give you a couple of extra years. There's no question about it. So if you had the choice between buying a sports car, a really expensive sports car, or buying a beautiful lot in a country where you can still afford it, then the land is definitely the better investment. Even if you hang on to it for a little bit, it's going to be this scenario where you are going to enjoy life a lot more. You have all the luxury still. There's internet here, there's electricity here, everything is available. It's just that you are going to have a drastic lifestyle change by living in a place where nature is the dominant factor. And it makes a big difference if you sort of understand that that is one of your objectives, is to actually grab a piece of land like this and create a place where you can live a lot longer. I want to talk about all the toxins that humans are exposed to. If you live in a place like this where there's no diesel fumes, no car fumes, there's soils that haven't been sprayed to death, there's life that is still organic, and you're in the middle of all this, have a new policy on your life where you don't need to be in the middle of all the action anymore. You're going to sort of be more secluded in your life. You're able to live healthier, sleep better at night, be less stressed. All those things happen in a place like this where nature is next to you. We have bears coming down, those Paddington bears. We have all kinds of strange opossums and all kinds of other little mammals that come into these areas. So the park, the Podocarpus Park, is right behind us here. So there's no chance of any further development going that way. So it's a very secluded, it's like an envelope almost, this area, where you're quite protected and you're able to avoid all the forever chemicals and the nuisance of living in big cities. It makes it very interesting when you can still afford a place like this, but you have to choose a country where, first of all, it's warm all the time. You don't need heating, you don't need air conditioning. It has this Goldilocks weather. And it is a possibility creating something like this in a space where there's still the possibility of doing something. Now, this land is very hilly on this side, flat on this side. There's so much you can do here. And if you have a small footprint on the land, it's a very magical place. And you can grow all your food, you can be chemical free, and you can have a very rewarding life because it's so inexpensive to live in a place like this. One of the biggest equations to these safe zones or blue zones or great places to live is the availability or the plentiful amounts of water you need to live that healthy. Water is essential. It is the medium that grows everything, that keeps everything working and healthy. So if you're in a really dry place, it might not work. This idea of having constant water is the beginning of creating a blue zone. It allows you to water your crops. It allows you to um, feed animals with water. It allows you to look after yourself. And clean water is a very rare resource. I also want to talk about contamination. Okay. Yeah, the Andes are famous for having water all the time. We have these types of streams and waterfalls coming out of the mountains everywhere. If you really want to stay healthy, the main focus is keeping these microplastics and forever chemicals, diesel fumes, gas fumes, fluoride, all these chemicals that are surrounding you. You need to keep them out of your body. That is the best way to stay healthy. That is the best way to stay very young. And forever chemicals and all these things that are introduced to our foods is what's making society very, very ill. And by living in a place like this, in a blue zone, you can stay healthy. You don't have to eat as much food because the food you grow here is going to be so rich in nutrients. And that'll save you by not eating so much and not eating chemicals and not taking in everything into your body. That will keep you younger and stronger for the best years of your life.